right, we are live. Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Cronos Stream AMA. My name is Jay. I'm part of the Cronos Labs partnerships team. And this AMA, we have invited several guests today, as you can see from the stream on the left side. Right, we have 5 guests with us in this Cronos stream. So what is this Cronos stream about? It is a platform for us to share more about the ecosystem latest updates for project founders and projects team to share with you, CrowFam, right, what has been the latest happenings in the chain itself. Right, so if this is the first time that you are tuning into the stream, on the top left-hand side, you will see a QR code that you can scan and enter Cronos YouTube account, right, which you can follow us. But one thing to note is that all updates shared in the Cronos stream are meant to be only informational and not financial advice. Right, so let's dive right in to who are the speakers today. Right, so firstly, my name is Jay. I'm part of the Cronos Labs partnerships team. Right, I'll pass the time on to each speaker, starting from Ken, to give a short, 10 to 20 seconds introduction about yourself. Right, so on to you, Ken. So Ken, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Hi, so I'm Ken Timsit. I'm the head of Cronos Labs, which is the R&D and ecosystem development arm of Cronos Chain.
All right, Carl.
Yep, Elder Carl, the project lead over at Boomer Squad NFT on Cronos.
Awesome, great. Gaurav.
Hi, my name is Gaurav. I had growth at Bitquery, which is blockchain data company.
All right, great to have you, Anzo.
Hey yo, so I'm Anzo from the Chiverse, and I will have a pleasure to speak with you a little bit about Web3 football game.
Also, and last but not least, we have Alex.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex. I'm the community guy / North America guy for Footprint Analytics. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invite, Jay.
So great to have everyone, and we see that CrowFam community are tuning in to listen to a wide variety of projects that we have on, right, from NFT to gaming to infrastructure partners of Cronos. Right, so the agenda for the stream today, we'll kick off with some ecosystem updates that Ken will share regarding the Cronos ecosystem. Right, after the ecosystem updates, we'll pass the time on to each project, right, who will give updates about what their project has been up to and how they have been interacting with the ecosystem. Right, so let's begin with some Cronos updates. I think number one, we recently announced a Cronos partnership with Caldera. I think this has been a very exciting announcement, and Ken, perhaps you have more things to share about it.
Thanks, Jay. So we hosted a live video stream a couple of weeks ago to present the details around this announcement. But for those of you who want the short version, what's important here is that we have started a journey which is around building layer 2s on layer 2 chains on top of Cronos as one of the main ways that we're going to be able to increase the throughput and scalability of the Cronos ecosystem. So there are various types of layer 2 technologies. The more mature one is called optimistic rollup, and then there are ZK rollups, which are I would say a more early stage type of layer 2 technology. And so this announcement with Caldera was about optimistic rollup. And what we announced then was that it's now possible very easily for application developers to use Caldera technology to deploy layer 2 optimistic rollups on top of Cronos. And so that's particularly relevant for people who are building game applications or social media applications where there's a lot of transaction volume and security, the security requirements are less than in DeFi, but on the other hand, there is a great requirement to have low transaction costs. So when you're using a layer 2 rollup, transaction costs can be something like 50 times smaller than they are on the Cronos layer 1, while inheriting the security of the Cronos layer 1. And if you consider that Cronos could become a settlement layer for many of those layer 2 chains, then it means that the Cronos ecosystem goes from a few dozen transactions per second to hundreds or even thousands of transactions per second. So it's just one milestone in the journey towards scalability, but an important one, and we were very happy to announce that a couple of weeks ago. We've also published an updated protocol, like a protocol roadmap update as well, that people can read at our blog, which is blog.cronos.org.
Yeah, I think this is one of the very interesting technical partnerships this year that will allow developers on the chain itself, right, to explore an alternative option of building on a layer 2 that allows for much cheaper and transactions, right, which can be very useful for, like what you say, games that might have a lot of on-chain interactions, and have building on Caldera on an OP rollup would make that kind of interaction subsense. Okay, so moving on to the next topic, the next update, right? On the bottom left, it's a screenshot of the latest product launch from the chain side, which is the Cronos Discover platform, right? It's a very useful platform for developers or for users that want to go onto one pager website to view what are the popular dApps on the chain itself, right? So perhaps Ken, anything that you have to comment about this?
Yeah. So the reason, so this portal Cronos Discover can be visited at the URL, which is discover.cronos.org, and it replaces now an ecosystem page that already existed on the Cronos.org website, but up until now looked more like a database of projects rather than something that was inviting and easy to understand for new users. So the motivation for creating Cronos Discover was really that I think now the Cronos chain has been here for a while. There's a community of users who know where to find information and who have their habits. They know they have the NFTs that are needed to play certain games, and they know where to go on Discord to learn about the latest and greatest product launches. But because, on the other hand, I think that the app ecosystem on Cronos is not that easy. Is not always that easy for new users to understand, because they don't have all those Discord channels and Twitter feeds already set up. And oftentimes when we go to conferences or meet people who are Crypto.com users and are starting to explore the Cronos ecosystem, for example, one of the questions that they have is if I want to get started on Cronos, what should I do? What are the main dApps, and what's the utility of those dApps? And so we thought it was important to present that information in an easily accessible way. This portal does not replace in any way the various websites or social media accounts that are supporting the Cronos community, like Cronos Research and others. But I think the audience is different, right? The audience of Cronos Discover is really first-time user who's kind of lost in the myriad of applications and wants to understand where to get started. So we encourage all project owners to go to the website and submit details about their project. I also encourage strongly project owners to phrase their product description or project description in a way that is easy to understand for the new user. I think too often the descriptions that we get, is like, the project X, the complete DeFi platform for all your DeFi needs or something like that. It doesn't, the information value of that for new users is low. So I think it's really important that we all make an effort to make things easy to understand to new users, and Cronos Discover is part of that effort.
Yeah, and it's a platform where, for users or for devs to do their due diligence, right? To find out what are the ecosystem devs. And there are multiple platforms on Cronos that serves this need, right? As a user who want to do due diligence, you want to get as much info as possible. So Cronos Discover is one of the platforms. There are also other popular platforms on Cronos, such as Cronos Research, right? That has very good tips on what are the long list of NFT projects, long list of DeFi projects on the chain itself, right? Cronos Research, a big shout out to them, right? And if let's say you are a Crypto.com DeFi wallet user, right, there is a dev page where Crypto.com, the DeFi wallet team has curated, right, what are the different Cronos dApps that you can access, right? And of course, NFT marketplaces, right, their collection section offers a good overview of the long list of NFT projects on the chain itself, right? So it's all of these different platforms coming together to give all CroFam, right, a good overview of what the ecosystem offers, right? And perhaps the last update here, it's a recent announcement between Cronos Accelerator and Protocol Labs, right? On to you, Ken, to share more about that. Ken, you're on mute.
Thanks. So for those who don't know what Protocol Labs is, it's the entity behind the development of IPFS and Filecoin, which are decentralized network for the storage of data and files, and increasingly also are moving towards offering decentralized networks for compute as well. So this part, they have partnered with the accelerator program, so they will be supporting accelerated startups in the development of use cases that make use of IPFS and Filecoin. And I think it's an interesting partnership announcement for 3 reasons. Number one, Protocol Labs is a highly regarded company in our space. And number two, the blockchain and decentralized storage protocols are kind of 2 sides of the coin if you want to build decentralized economies. A blockchain for storage and transfer of value, and then IPFS and Filecoin or other protocols for storage of data, such as NFTs, but not only. So it's important for startups to understand how to combine those 2 types of protocols, which are complementary when they build their applications. And number 3, given that AI, artificial intelligence is a big focus for Cronos in terms of development of the ecosystem this year, and that Protocol Labs is heavily invested in that, in AI-related use cases as well. I think it's a good complementary partnership that will bring, hopefully, a lot of innovation to the ecosystem.
All right. Thanks, Ken, for the quick update regarding Cronos ecosystem. Okay, now let's move on to, I think, what a lot of people are very excited about, the projects updates. So we'll go through project by project, right? Each project will have roughly 10 minutes to share. We're starting from Boomer Squad to Chiverse to Bitquery, and then we'll end things off with Footprint Analytics. Right. So firstly, from Boomer Squad, today we have Elder Cow. Okay, let me shift the screen like that. Okay, Elder Cow, how's it going? Right, maybe for those, you are very popular in the ecosystem already, but let's say for people who do not know much about you guys, much about Boomer Squad, give a quick introduction about yourself and the project.
Yeah, so we've been on Cronos since We minted in May of last year, so we've been on chain for over a year now, and been around longer. Like basically made our presence known kind of early in that year, like around January. And basically, what we do is we have a lot of different offerings. We like to just build really cool and interesting things on block. So it'd take way more than 10 minutes to go through everything. Essentially, we have, I think the number's up to like 27 functioning smart contracts that are used on a regular basis on Cronos right now, that are used for various things like on-chain games. We have something called verified distribution, which allows us to distribute Crow to our holders evenly just by holding the NFT, as opposed to as an alternative to like staking. We have things, boom rooms, which are customizable NFTs, and then we have the most recent thing that we kind of pushed out, which was Zoomers, which would be our dedication towards our version of gaming in Web3, which is more like on-chain based, event-based games. So that's like the very high level summary of what we do.
Awesome. So, I mean, you guys have been building for quite some time and building a lot of different products, different product features, right? If let's say I'm someone new to the Crow fam, I just found out about Boomer Squad. What are 3 key things that would attract me to join the Boomer Squad ecosystem?
Yeah, I think for one, the community itself is pretty large relative to for someone on Cronos right now. So one great thing about our project is a lot of people in our ecosystem are in a lot of other projects, and I think we are one of the more diverse communities. So it's a good group that has been around Cronos for a long time. They have a lot of good information. So we have a lot of people that join the project for the first time that maybe this is their first kind of venture into DeFi, and there's a lot of people that hit Cronos, I feel like, that are into DeFi for the first time, and there's a ton of questions and things that they don't know. The community is super helpful, and it's a good kind of place for that type of information. A lot of good Cronos OGs, is what we would call them, kind of are within our community and pretty active there. And then the other nice thing is for our project is, we have, as I mentioned, we have a lot of on-chain applications in a lot of different areas of the project. So if you're somebody that's not really that active, doesn't really want to participate that much, a Boomer is kind of like a perfect step into DeFi, because it allows you to start interacting with DeFi and using the blockchain for more than just sending transactions across the chain to each other. It kind of introduces you to some things you can do with it. So, for example, like I said, by holding a Boomer, we give rewards to our holders over the course of time through our mattress fund. Basically, as we bring in, whether it be Scratch or utility token or Crow through various forms, we kind of redistribute that back out as we see fit to our holders. And you don't have to do anything. You can just sit it there and come back next year and collect it whenever, or you can be collecting it every day if you want. If that's something you want. If you're somebody that wants to get into on-chain gaming, and this is, I think, an area that has become, the opinions of what that looks like has changed a lot over the course of time. We're not building, Skyrim level games or very high detailed games. Our logic and our take on gaming is more strategy based, kind of similar to like the chess of gaming, where it's about game theory and kind of like interesting concepts. That like we're basically presenting the users with a problem case or a scenario that is customized to a game that we just kind of came up with. And then you play that game with the rest of our community for whether it be a couple weeks or a month, depending on the game that we're playing. And it kind of allows you to basically experience again a version of on-chain gaming at a relatively low price, and kind of start getting experience and seeing what that could look like. And I think a lot of people are having fun with those, the ones that are actually participating in it. So I'd say it's a good introduction to what you can see and do in the ecosystem. And we've been around for a while, and I think have done a good job of basically introducing a lot of people to what is possible in DeFi. And that's kind of like what I would say our staple here is. Like, we just try to build really cool and interesting stuff on block.
Cool. And yeah, I think on-chain gaming has, I feel like it's not really fully explored territory. A lot of games mostly like hybrid, right? They are most like 90% of the game it's off-chain, right? It's on their own servers, whereas what you guys have built is very interesting. There's a lot of on-chain game theory involved, right? And just curious, how will you guys be building moving forward, right? Would it be more on-chain games, more on-chain experience? How are you thinking about things?
Yeah, so we're trying to find that sweet spot. So when we first came onto the scene, we first started building out our project, we felt like everybody's appetite was geared around fully on-chain gaming, so that everything was fully verified and trustless and all that type of stuff. But then as people realize, I think that's something that people like to hear and really like that concept. But then as they experience what that is like when it comes to just waiting for transactions or gas, there's also other things that come into that, which would be like RNG or randomness is really hard to achieve truly on chain without using something like an Oracle. It's people are willing to kind of sacrifice that a little bit of the on-chain kind of visibility to kind of pull some of the functionality more centralized to kind of simplify the application and process a little bit. So all of our games will continue to be strategy based kind of game theory games where it's I equate it to like a lot of like board games or things like that, but they'll still be all handled through block. So it won't be there won't be a lot of like centralized functionality. We do have a mini game suite coming out, which would be like, whether it be bingo or things like that aren't part of these larger game events that I'm talking about. That'll just be available on our website. That'll be in a more centralized platform where you're doing most of your transactions, because there's a lot of transactions in those in a centralized way. And then we're kind of downloading and kind of parsing that information to the blockchain later on as you kind of have checkpoint events like withdrawing your Crow or your Scratch from playing those games.
Cool. Right. So 3 to 6 months, like let's talk about the next 2 quarters of this year. What can your holders, what can the Crow fan community look forward to?
Yeah. So we have right now we're running through kind of developing a lot of different games that we're playing for our Zoomers, and so the one that is actually currently live right now, it's minting it's minting game tokens for the event that's going to kick off here in a week, is our playground game. It's basically like a King of the Hill game where it's a massive game of chicken. It costs 50 Crow to play. That game will start in the next week and a half or so, and then after that we're going to have a new game coming out as well. So basically a big part of what we're doing is trying to develop all of these individual games that our Zoomer holders will play, and that anyone else in the ecosystem, which by the way, you don't need to have a Zoomer or a Boomer Squad asset to play these games. This is open to anybody. So anybody who's kind of interested in seeing what we do and kind of what we have available, you can go to our website and mint yourself a playground token or two, because the game like I said, the game is going to start here in the next couple weeks. And then the same goes with the upcoming things that we have. We have a lot of other smaller branches of the ecosystem. We're doing summer merch kits for our holders, for anybody that you could purchase with Scratch. We're doing, like I said, the on-chain suite of events, on-chain suite of games for like smaller mini games, we're calling them. We have a couple collab and partnerships coming up that we haven't announced yet, and I'm not greenlit to really say yet, but they're nothing too crazy, but something to kind of again add more utility to our holders at different levels, depending on if you have Boomer Zoomers or Boomers. And then we're currently working on like the next big thing for our project that I think is another big kind of step towards something that hasn't been done before. And I think for us, like our project, something that we did early this year that we realized as we kind of had Zoomers out, after getting Boomers out, having Boomers and all these other branches like a 3PL and mini games and a launch pad and all this stuff, we basically restructured our team a little bit to be less rigid, less linear, and everybody's kind of working on a lot of different things. And so if you again are interested in anything we have going on, or just like how else to learn, we have a whole list of, I think right now our task board is 100 items long of kind of what we have actively in the pipeline working on. And some of them could be as small as like updating our Discord bot, because Discord is changing their naming structure to launching a massive multi-month kind of development project that we're working on right now. So we have a lot going on. There's a ton to digest. Our Git book is a novel of information, and we're always available for questions if anyone's actually interested. But at the very least, I would encourage people to go check out our Zoomer games. Like I said, the Playground is live right now. Very easy, very simple, and I think a lot of people have had fun with it. So
Awesome. Okay. Thanks so much for sharing and giving a very in-depth explanation about Boomer Squad. Right. Okay. So maybe time to move on to the next project. Right. We have Chiverse, Anzo, right, representing Chiverse today. Right. So for the Crow fam or for listeners who might not have heard about you and about Chiverse, can you give a quick introduction about yourself and the project?
Yeah, sure. Hi again. So I think that there might be a lot of people who still have no idea what the Chiverse is, as we are building in the shadow, let's say. We are the football-related Web3 game. We built it from the scratch. The game, it's on our website. We tested it. It's working. But in terms of to make the game more fun, we integrated various NFT projects out of the Cronos chain instead of real football teams. So in our game, you can't play, for example, the big clubs, but you have opportunity to play the game Earn the Crow with playing, for example, with cards from Abyssus Bay or Cross Schools or whatever projects which we involved into. That's the short story, right?
Cool. Right. So if let's say I get into the Chiverse ecosystem right now, what are a couple of things that I'll be able to do?
Yeah, sure. So there are a few things which you can do as you are the new joiner. First of all, you can start collecting the points. On Discord, we have some kind of bot which is calculating the ranking. And each NFT can bring you some kind of points, and that points are giving you access to the special drops with the football players, which are much stronger than the regular players. Other thing which you can do is to buy the player from the secondary market and start building your team now out of the drops which are already finished, because so far we sold about 18k of NFTs. So that's our current supply. And as you are a new joiner, you can also wait for the next drop, because we are preparing integrating another team, Marbleverse. It's also quite known brand out of the Cronos family. And you can simply wait for the drop and try to get the player out of this drop. That's the three things which you can do at the moment in our game.
Got it. And I mean, obviously, you guys are going to build out more product features into the game that you guys have built in Chiverse, right? So, what can your holders, what can Crow fam look forward to in your ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. First of all, you can look for the fun because we are here to bring the fun, integrate some kind of Cronos family more and more. We are also developing a lot of features which are going to be presented even today after the space and during this conversation. We are organizing from time to time the matches on our game. And you can simply take a part in the tournaments to get the Crow as a reward. So we finished just a few days ago the preliminaries to the big tournament. And at the moment, in 2 weeks, probably we will start and kick off with the big Cronos tournament, where investors, people are integrating each other on our Discord, building the teams together and playing for the Crow. And prize pool so far we distributed in a prize pool about 50k of Crow, I think, out to our holders, and the current tourney will have another 30k of the Crow. So the prize pool is quite interesting. especially in terms of the market which we are currently. So it can be much and more as we grow as a whole Cronos ecosystem and crypto industry.
Got it. And I see that you guys have partnered with a few of the other NFT projects and marketplaces on Cronos, right? Perhaps can you share a bit more about what are these partnerships about? Who have you been partnering with?
Yeah, sure. The partnerships are some kind of idea which was invented on our Discord, because when we built the project in general, we were thinking like to build regular drops, but some kind of guys said, why don't cooperate with other NFT projects and integrate their NFTs and their art into our game? And it was like one of the best decisions which we made. We are at the moment made the drops of the, for example, Abyssus Bay, Crodu, Cross School, Undead Space Apes, and as well our internal team. It's called Running Rebels. It was the first team. Next drop is with the Marbleverse. Moonflow, we were also speaking with the Elder Car, and I think we are going to also continue it and integrate and have the boomers in our game. And the last team is the team of the Croods, and they are also going to be part of the big Chiverse family. After that, after we make full 10 teams, we are going to also run a big tournament with way more prize pool, and that's the idea, to integrate the community, to build something unique on the Cronos chain.
Got it. Okay, thanks for giving more context. Plus, one last thing from your side: where can users of CrowFam who are the first time hear about you guys find out more information about the project?
Yeah, there are few sources of the information. I think one of the best will be our Discord, where you can simply join and ask the team, ask the other investors. Other part of the source is like we have some kind of little YouTube channel when we are making the shorts with updates of the ecosystem, and as well on our website news.chiverse.online. You can find some kind of tutorials because we have a blog section over there. And also, if you want to dig a little bit more into the whole numbers, whole things related to the game, you can just review our Git book. There we are having more information. Another part of the sources is like soon we are going to publish the instruction to the game, let's say. So it will be another source and place where you can find more information regarding the ecosystem and in general project. Twitter also, yeah.
Okay, so if let's say CrowFam wanting to find out more about Chiverse, right, head to their Twitter and Discord to speak with the team, to do your due diligence about the project. All right, so thanks so much, Anzo, for giving this overview about yourself and about the project. Okay, let's move on to the next project, Bitquery. Right, we have Gaurav with us today. Right, how's it going? Give a quick introduction about yourself.
Hi, thank you. My name is Gaurav. I had growth at Bitquery. Bitquery is like 4 or 5 years old company now. We provide blockchain data to many other companies, DeFi, and also like normal crypto companies, exchanges. One of the main goal for Bitquery is to make blockchain data more accessible and meaningful. Anybody who's building application in blockchain space know that there are now application is become multi-chain, that only one chain might not suffice. You need at least to deploy it at least on multiple chains because of this opportunity. There are a lot of reasons. So when you do this, there's it becomes a struggle to actually uh, access your own data, sometimes your own DApp data. So one of the Bitquery's job is to provide very easy interface to access this blockchain data. We provide different interface now. So depends what you need. For example, one of the major, more popular interface is GraphQL APIs. So you have single GraphQL APIs, and using that, you can access 40 blockchains. And most of the time, they are unified APIs, so you don't need to change a lot. You just have very unified, similar structure APIs. And we have a GraphQL API, so it gives a lot more power to somebody who's trying to use the API. So this is one, and another major goal of Bitquery is to make data more meaningful. So we keep trying to find ways to make data more meaningful, because raw data is not very useful. You have to make it more meaningful. So application don't do a lot of processing on their side, and they just get a ready-made data, and they can build different types of applications, from analytics to compliance to DEX terminals to ranking websites to NFT marketplace, anything. So this is one of the major Bitquery does.
Sure. So, what are the typical types of profile or the archetype of projects that you will typically target, or will find Bitquery, what you guys provide, useful?
Usually, Bitquery major customers are people who look for continuous data. So there's large data projects. So, for example, in compliance space, in taxation space, where you need you have a customers who are using different blockchains, and you need their transfers, their staking data, and different types of data. And then there are a lot of DEX related customers in whole financial world, which is more interested into trading. So example, you want to build a DEX console, a terminal, you want to access real-time trading data for any token or multiple tokens or specific DEX or blockchain, and you can access through us. So these are major profiles, but a lot of people use us. Many times we don't even know how they're using us. And there are a lot of DeFi apps who use us for fetching of events, smart contract events, calls, etc.
Cool. So, across DeFi and NFT projects that require a better understanding, a richer understanding of blockchain data, I think that's where you guys fulfill this gap very well. Right. And just curious, like in terms of product development, right, where do you see you guys focusing bulk of your efforts in developing Bitquery in the following months and years?
Yes, one of the major thing is to enable multiple interfaces, because a lot of initial effort was in APIs, and APIs was not only an interface where people need data. There are other interfaces, like they need data for the ETLs, they need data sometimes on demand for specific regions. So enable multiple interface, so accessibility, making accessibility easy. And then the one project inside, which is making data real time, which is very important. We think it will enable many use cases and actually enable better user experience, where you have sub-second delay, or there is almost no delay. So that's very important for gaming apps and for trading and various use cases. And third is basically enabling more richer data and more different types of data. For example, enabling mempools. Mempool data is one of the thing, and enabling enabling for example, one of the things we want to enable is to give more information about transaction and addresses, which doesn't exist on blockchain. So this is also making, which is off-chain information about entities on blockchain.
Right. So how can like developer teams or founders get started with using Bitquery?
They just simply sign up on our IDE. We call it ide.bitquery.io, where you can just simply sign up, start creating APIs. It's a playground, graphical playground, where you can simply create APIs, see results, save it, share it, and we give like 100,000 points free every month. So you can actually build a small applications using our fully plan.
Awesome. Right, and I think recently Cronos announced a builders program, and I mean Bitquery is one of the key partners of the program itself. Right, so if you are a developer, a project founder who is tuning into this stream, right, you can head to Cronos.org, right, under programs, head to the Cronos Builders program, right, and fill up the application form. And if let's say you want to try out Bitquery, right, that would be a way to accelerate your the trial, right, of utilizing Bitquery and becoming one of the core users of the platform. Okay, thanks so much, Gaurav, for this very insightful sharing about yourself and about Bitquery. Okay, last but not least, our final speaker and our final project today, we have Alex, who is from Footprint, right? So Alex, how's it going?
It's going good, you guys. I'm here a little bit early, so I'm a little tired. So if I'm yawning or anything like that during the presentation, just ignore it. And yeah, I'm happy to be here again. Thanks for the invite, Jay.
So yeah, I think we are all around the world, right? I'm in Singapore, and you're in you said Canada, right? And this is like one of the best times for us to fit all the time zones, right? But thanks for coming on very early. So perhaps give a quick introduction about yourself and about Footprint.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I'm like the community guy. I do all of the events. I go to the conferences, do all the English meetings, kind of all that sort of stuff, and give a little intro about Footprint. Like I like to say, Footprint's kind of your one-stop shop for everything kind of data analytics, right? We have like 26 chains fully indexed, right? So we run our own nodes and get this data straight off the blockchain. And we got over 1 million NFT collections already indexed, 2,000 plus GameFi games. We're really working on our DeFi data, so you can see that expand a lot in the coming months here. So currently we have about 550 DeFi platforms covered. And we've done over like 4.5 billion transactions as well. So all I'm trying to say is if you need data, we got a lot of it, and we have some great solutions to really kind of help you in your data analysis journey, or even building as well, right? Data goes into a lot of things when you're a builder, especially figuring out kind of what ways to pivot and everything like that. So Footprint offers some really great solutions for builders to harness the data relatively easily. So really excited to talk about more.
So what can users do on the Footprint platform?
So we got a couple different product suites that users can take advantage of, right? So our first one is really for just retail investors or anybody that wants to make just charts and dashboards about their own projects or projects that interest them, right? We have analytics suite. So what's really cool about this is we actually have a zero coding solution, right? So you can drag and drop, or if you guys are beginners writing SQL queries, we also have an AI SQL assistant you can just write a prompt very similar to ChatGPT, and it'll actually write the SQL for you, then immediately visualize it, which is super sweet. As me, someone who's not the most technical, anytime I don't have to write SQL, that's a W for me. So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm very rusty with SQL, so I think I would appreciate that as well. So I presume users go in to create analytic dashboards. I think what you guys have the edge here is this no code, right? No code.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really sweet because, right, typically when you're writing your SQL query, right, because you have to use SQL to get the data off the blockchain, it really just takes a long time, right? Kind of tedious. You got to sift through a lot of lines of code. So having this drag and drop option just saves a lot of time. And then with that AI as well, that just saves you even more time, right? So especially, let's say you're building and you're paying a dev $80 an hour, right? You want them to spend as little time as possible making the analytics so they can focus on other parts of the project. And that's what we're really aiming for at Footprint Analytics, right? And then, going on top of our other product suites, we also have the data API, which is really nice, right? So you have a ton of different endpoints you can pull from. And we make it really easy because we organize these endpoints really in a semantic business way, so that it just makes your life as an analyst a hell of a lot easier, right? And we also just recently included batch downloads. So let's say you need, full historical transactions from a protocol or from multiple protocols from the last year. You can get that really easily and upload it to like an AI or an ML learning program to really kind of harness it how you'd like. So the batch download is pretty sweet. And then going on to our third product suite that we've been working on and been cooking up is our footprint growth analytics. So what's really sweet about footprint growth analytics is like the most simple way to put it is it's like a Web3 CRM tool, right? One of the biggest problems right now is combining on-chain data and off-chain data in the same place and doing it so that it's constantly updated, right? Generally right now, if you want to get that off-chain data and you want that on-chain data in the same spot, you gotta update it every single time. And that is just kind of a pain in the butt. So we're working by adding different connectors like Google Analytics, Discord bots, Twitter bots. So you can get all this off-chain data and combine it with everything on chain. So it's really sweet that we're doing. So if anybody here is building and thinking about an airdrop, this is pretty sweet. But we're actually doing wallet segmentation and wallet tagging. So it's really nice. I mentioned airdrops, right? The last thing you want to do as a project founder, if you're giving away some of your tokens, is airdrop it to a bunch of bots or airdrop it to someone who's gaming your campaign. So with Footprint, with the wallet segmentation, the wallet addressing, you can really easily go in and see your users and with this segmentation, I should say, it also includes like a wallet profile. So you can see what these users are holding. You can go into their transactions, kind of see what they're doing. And just with these segmentations, just figure out the genuine users, right? Your real genuine community members, and separate them from, the guys just here for a quick buck. So that's really nice. Not only that, but then you also can compare projects. You can do custom analysis, a lot of really sweet things with our footprint growth analytics. So all I'm saying is if you're in need for a Web3 CRM tool that combines this data or your off-chain data on-chain, I'm your guy. It's really, really sweet. Hit me up with it and I'll get you set up. So those are kind of like the overview of our three products, right? We have the zero coding analytics suite, we have our API, and then we have our footprint growth analytics.
Awesome. I think that's very, very like a full suite analytics product that you guys are providing that tailors to a lot of different demographics and segment of customers, right? Like no code analytics dashboarding platforms, perhaps for end users who want to do due diligence on a project, right? And then your API is probably for analysts, probably for projects that wants to use your APIs to create their own internal dashboard. And then
let me just clarify as well. When you're using our API, we have two different APIs to choose from. So we have the SQL API, which is like a lot more powerful, a lot more customizable. And then we also have a REST API as well. It's a little bit easier and a little bit quicker, but both are really great. And great for building things too, actually. So like NFT marketplaces, proof of reserves, whatever.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a quick hint to the two NFT projects here today to give Footprint Analytics a check out.
Yeah, hint.
And I think that the last product suite, actually, I have not checked that out, and I think I will after this. The growth on-chain, off-chain CRM system, that sounds very interesting. Don't think I have seen too many like similar products out there in the space today. I think combining on-chain and off-chain data is something that I think will be very useful for many applications, where you can analyze, segment customers using on-chain behaviors, off-chain behaviors. I think that's very interesting.
And not only that too, I forgot to mention, but we're also working with like say Notify and like QuestEnd, so that you can actually monitor your campaign data as well. And even send on-chain messages, which is super cool. But you can send on-chain messages, not on-chain, right? With our Notify integration, you can send an on-chain message to say someone's Facebook or to say someone's phone number, which is just sweet, right? If I want to stay updated on the data, I don't want to have to check the dashboard every 30 minutes. I'd love to get just a text that lets me know when I'm getting these important metrics hit or whatever I set my goal line for or whatever.
Got it. All right. So what would be, for the coming months or the year ahead, right? What would be the core focus of development for Footprint?
Right. Well, I guess with the Cronos fan would be pretty interested. It'd be in the developments of the Cronos data. And with this recent grant we got from you guys, which is amazing. Thank you very much. Is You guys can really expect a lot more depth in the Cronos data. Right now, we're really working with a lot of raw data, but you can start expecting deeper metrics. Right. A lot more. We're working with AI to do contract scraping. Which will get you guys a hell of a lot more protocols that are being launched on Chronos Fam right away, right? And what's really sweet is we're working on really sweet metrics, right? So, say you're really into gaming, right? One of the cool metrics that I'm sure you guys would be interested in, and this is personally my favorite metric when it comes to gaming, but having stuff like retention rate, right? Retention rate is a super important metric, not just for the people building the game, but for players that are maybe getting interested in the game. Why? Simple reason: retention rate tells you if a game is fun without having to play it, which is sweet, right? And not only that, right? Wallet profiles are pretty big, so that you can say you have a rivalry with another wallet. You can go check out, kind of see what they're holding, what other games that they're playing, right? Or even if you're a builder too, wallet profiles are pretty sweet. I mentioned airdrops and stuff like this, but you can differentiate if you want to send someone a token or an NFT based on, say, what your most 100 active users are holding instead. Anyways, going back to what can you expect as well. We're working with, like I said before, lots of AI, and we're using AI also for bot detection. So I know bots are pretty relevant feature in games on chain nowadays, right? Anytime there's financial incentive, there's going to be bots. But what's really cool with the bot detection is this makes it a lot quicker to determine this, so then you can take value away from where the bots are playing and put it more into where your genuine users are playing, which is great for tokenomics, scalability, or not scalability, but sustainability, I should say, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, essentially too, really, if you're into DeFi data, that's something you can really expect a huge grind and a huge influx of data coming into Footprint, because we're really working on the DeFi. Before it was NFTs, GameFi, that was what's hot. DeFi in the bull market kind of took the back burner, but now it's getting hot again. And we noticed a lot more interest in the DeFi data. So all the Cronos fam that's listening right now, if you're into DeFi, check out Footprint. There's going to be a lot of great things coming, and you're going to have a big wealth of data to look at.
That's all right. Thanks for the very hype sharing. I think you gave Footprint a very, very hype branding right there. And I think analytics is something that, because of how public blockchain data is, right? It's available for everyone, and I think Footprint, it's a platform that makes data, right, better visualized through their dashboards, through their APIs. And I think circling back to one of the earlier points that we made in the stream today, right? If let's say you're a user new to Cronos and you want to find out more about the ecosystem, right, you can head to discovery platforms like Cronos Discover, Cronos Research to find out about the depths. And then if you want to do a second level, right, dive into the project itself, right, then you can head to the platforms like Footprint, right, like Bitquery, right, to find out more about the richer data, right, visualize the data of their contracts, who are the customers, who are the profile of the addressers that are utilizing, interacting with the contracts, right, of the projects themselves, right, and that's how you do like due diligence on the projects that you are going to interact with.
Right, and I forgot to mention as well, but it's really nice as well when you're looking at transactions to be able to do cross-chain analysis as well. So we also do cross-chain analysis, so you guys can compare. Or let's say that there's a project that released on Cronos, but also released on Polygon. It's nice to get that full holistic overview of the project if it's released on multiple chains as well.
Awesome. Okay, right. Thanks so much for the sharing, Alex. Right, it was very, very detailed sharing about Footprint. Okay, so it seems like we are coming right around the corner of the Cronos stream. Right, we are left for a few minutes. Right, but thanks so much, everyone. Right, the speakers today for spending the past hour coming on to share more about yourself, more about the project. Right, and thanks to all of the Crow fam for coming on to tune in today. So this stream is recorded, right? So you can head to the Cronos YouTube, or Cronos Twitter to watch the recording of this stream. Right, but we do the Cronos stream every 2 to 3 weeks, so looking forward to seeing all of you there again. Right, so have a good morning, good evening, and good night to everyone who's listening. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.